Good morning, ladies and gents. So, today we do something a little different. Today I unmess up my code. Specifically, right now I've got 4 or 5 different ways to access items, and they are all a mess. I've got one that works all right. I've got one that is for inventory. I've got one for combat, one for each of them has their own quirks, and they all handle items somewhat differently, and it's terrifying. This is not how game code should look, and I'm out to fix that today. Specifically, we're going to start with combining the combat item usage and the in-world item usage, so we can slam those together. After that, hopefully we'll be able to grab the container items and slap them in there as well. And then finally, eventually, I don't know if I'm going to do much, if any of this on stream, or if I'm going to finish any of this on stream, but eventually also, like, the trade interface might need to make its way in there. Although trading is a little different, so I can understand trading being its own piece of interface. But we can still simplify everything. We can still drown this down to a bare minimum. And that's kind of what we need to do, because right now, as I said, it's disgusting. The first thing to note, okay, here's our first way to access anything, right? We can move around what slot things are in, we have a clear owner, and we can pass items to other players once I fix that. So that's one way, right? That's the first way to access things. Let's see, can I get in a fight here? So, second way to access items is through this weird interface. You'll note, though, that this there's no tooltips. You can't use things that are currently in your hands. If you have, say, a magic wand that you've got equipped to beat somebody with, it doesn't show up in this list. Like, we've got all kinds of little quirks about each of these interfaces, and I really don't like having all these quirks. And I don't like how the interfaces change between... Okay, I can't click on this right now. But I don't like how the interfaces change from one to the next. I want this to be clean, consistent, and straightforward. And the easiest way to do that is to reuse the same inventory screen time and time again, so that it makes sense and you don't lose where things are. And then obviously the third way, which you guys have seen a lot of recently, is when you open up a chest and say, I want to unlock that and that. Hey, look! This doesn't even have stack information on it. Items disappear behind things. Like, there's all kinds of crazy, kooky stuff going on here that I am not a fan of. And kind of yesterday it came to a head when I looked at my code and just kind of shuddered a little bit. So we're going to start with unifying combat and the click interface. And I love how I say click interface and I click on it and it's like, oh, wait, I don't have the game running. So... the first thing to keep in mind is that we've got all this information. We should disable probably some of that information when we get out to combat. So the difference between opening here and between opening in combat should not be a huge thing. It should just be a couple tie-ins to the interface. And so I'm going to dive in there as a good start point. Specifically, let's see here. I'm probably going to need to get in a lot of fights in combat just to test stuff out. So I'm actually going to set this to 1, which just means 100% chance to get in a fight. Okay. So, I hit item, it brings up a certain thing. Now, let's see here. So we've got this, like, chunk of interface. That can pretty much go out of combat window. So let's do that first. Combat window is probably under scripts. Combat window. Hey, there we go. Okay, so combat window. It has references to some stuff, most of which I don't care about. The big thing here is this the combat item UI template. Not necessary. Also, let's see. That's going to break things in a certain spot, and I want to find that spot so I can just, like, remove all of this garbage. So, yeah. Goodbye, all of that. Item picker, no. So we hide our own interface, and that's fine. What I want to do now, let's see, choose item action. So you choose the item action, and what I want to do is, we've already got the player picked out, so all we have to do is say choice owner dot open inventory. And this should be a good start. Now, it wants the party UI every time I open the inventory, which is a little weird. I'm kind of curious what it uses that for. I'm going to pass it null right here just so it stops complaining. But what is it doing with that information? It doesn't look like it's actually doing anything. Anything at all. Yes, now you're complaining you don't take. That's fine. Okay, so I didn't need that information there. Don't know why it was there. More than a little bit terrifying to see stuff like that floating around, but that's why we're kind of in here cleaning stuff up. Kate, that is a heck of an idea. Good luck, but I'd say pick something smaller to start with. My guess is that without something easier under your belt, it's gonna take you a while to get through something like that. That is one heck of an idea. Hey, Dexy Lab. How's it going? Just cleaning code, cleaning house with my own code. And kind of, not sickened, but unfortunately noticing just how much is messed up right now. Okay, so all these, okay, well, we'll start with the upper left-hand corner. So, first off, we have to switch ourselves to a normal player character open inventory call. Secondly, you'll note we have a drop base event on this character. I'm just going to update everyone else to also contain that. So, let's see here. Question is, where does that live? I think that lives in the player character. So I actually have to go into the player character and give them a reference. So this is upper right, which is character 2. So here's your character 2. Also, character 2 should go here so that we can say this is an open inventory call. Doesn't have any parameters. This is a portrait drop. Okay, lower left. Oh my god, do I have to do this for everybody? That's unfortunate. Unfortunate, but necessary, I might add. Sometimes when you change data, things just have to be updated. And luckily, this is a pretty easy data change in comparison to a lot of other things we could be doing. That also is the wrong function. Portrait drop should be there. And last one. So yeah, I just kind of got sick of the quality. I was looking at this and going, you know, I could do this with half the functions and half the classes, and I decided to finally kind of buckle down and do it yesterday. I hit apply. My life suddenly becomes hopefully a lot easier. Let's see here. Can I drag and drop this to anybody now? Yeah, I can. Of course I can. I can't help but laugh at the fact that it looks like it took the same slot that the other one left. Ooh, actually I'm seeing a null reference exception. If the slot is empty, it should skip it. Okay, I guess I should do something else here, such as that. Just in case. Do a little null check, make sure we don't actually throw null reference exceptions. Although, honestly, when I pass an item like that, I really shouldn't be passing nulls at this point. When when I do something like this, yeah, that's fine. Okay, this person's is now fine as well, but we're going to leave a little to do for ourselves. Because eventually this should all be just one thing, right? We should say, not is it null, but is it empty? We don't really want to be setting nulls, and so that's another part of the cleanup that needs to happen here. Because otherwise this is going to be a constant fight where I say equals null or is empty, instead of just, no, is it an empty slot or not? I don't care about anything else. Also, I thought it was kind of weird when I click on him and his inventory opens. If we look at the player character that happens to be holding this item, and we actually dig through his inventory, it's the first backpack slot, and yet it's way the hell down here. It makes me think something is wrong with the way I'm actually filling each of these slots up. And that, I think, should fix it. That should at least move it to the first slot. Hey, Krabbin. There we go. Okay, this is where it should now be. It is now in the correct position. See, going through, cleaning up. Feels good. Okay, so we've got inventory stuff kind of starting to coalesce together. The big thing that's going to really kill us, this set inventory function, is no good. Currently, there's either this needs to go, or we need to change how we set the inventory when we hand it to somebody. Because that's not going to fly with a lot of the other systems in place. Also, the character window, one thing to keep in mind here. I'm going to put a new header in place because we need not functionality enablers. I need a good name for this, but this is essentially feature flags. And the feature flags are going to be stuff like can trade, right? Can equip. I'm trying to think of other things. Those are kind of the two largest ones that we'll want to handle. And of course, all of this lives in character window for a reason. So, we'll probably want can cast spells. I'll just leave it at can cast. I understand when I say can cast that I'm talking about casting spells, I'm not going to have a boolean that says can I cast this variable type or anything silly like that. Alright, so I'm just kind of looking at all the bits and pieces inside of this to know what I can and what I can't do. Okay, so let's see here. When we get into a fight, let's actually rip out that part of the project that actually handles being in a fight and handling items in a fight, right? I hit item right now, it hides the interface. That's nice, but let's actually just rip it out entirely. Where is the combat window? Because there's character window, here's combat window. You, get over here. I don't like the item picker. It can go away. Bio. Let's just apply our changes back in. So now when you say combat window, and we pick the item, I just realized I have to look at this a little more. when you pick the item action, okay, it says choose item action, and that's inside combat window. Let's just clean this up a little bit. Choose item action. Okay, so we open that character's inventory, and then what? We need to set down some ground rules while that's open, and then while we've got the ground rules running, we need to actually do some processing on the information that comes back. So one thing to note is that I hit item, and it didn't open up the warrior's inventory. It should have. It didn't. Why didn't it? Because his can't open inventory is forked. Okay. Crap. So we need a way past this kind of all-knowing if statement that is here so that you can't click and look at his inventory while you're mid-combat. Honestly, I actually don't mind players doing this to some degree. I might need to find a new way around this. For instance, mid-combat, you may be able to open your inventory and look at it, but not modify it. So I get into a fight, and I say, okay, I can see things, but I shouldn't be able to do this mid-combat. So let's turn that one on. Let's see if we can actually get these kinds of controls put in. Because otherwise this is just not going to work out for us. And we need this to work if we want our code to look any cleaner than it currently does. Because look at all these different item scripts. Like, that's stupid. That is literally idiotic. And that's what I get for not planning ahead, honestly. Let's get rid of this combat item script, since we don't need it. One last script. Also, I can't help but notice that combat item UI is gonna come back and haunt us just a little bit. There we go. Okay, so we need the item window, or the inventory window, which is actually the character window, for lack of a better name. And we need some more feature flags here. So we've got, you can trade, you can equip. Equip will probably also control moving things within your inventory. So we need to actually implement this. Let's see here, can equip. So you click on what? You click, this has to do with the actual dragging and dropping of items in the inventory. So we need to also modify the item UI that's in the inventory. So when we create these, they actually need more information than what they currently have. Inventory item UI. Also, we should get rid of some of this crap that we haven't implemented yet. That seems really silly. I'm just kind of on a spree of removing things that aren't necessary. There's so much code flying around that I feel like I should be able to do everything I'm currently doing with about 3/4 of the code that currently exists. So, yeah. On pointer enter is fine. On begin drag is where I start to have a problem. So if we can't move, just skip all of these, pretty much, is what it comes down to. On begin drag, on drag, and actually, yeah. on begin, on drag, and on end is not going to be a huge issue, but I'm going to do this just for completion's sake. I'm a little worried that things might move or try and do something silly, and I really would rather nothing crazy happen, simply because I got lazy and, didn't put a move marker somewhere. Okay, so character window, when we create the item UI, there's one more piece of information that needs to come in here, and it's going to be this, let's see here, create item UI, can move is going to be equal to the can equip, and I guess can equip and can trade should kind of be in the same thing, so this should be can move as well. We'll just literally pass that variable downwards. I could use the exclamation mark not. I'm not a huge fan of that though, because that isn't terribly easy to read. Equals false is a lot simpler for me to read. Same way I say equals null or is not equal to null instead of saying if item. It makes my life easier. Okay. And instead of can open inventory, this should be changed. What I'm actually going to switch it to is can modify inventory. And when we call open inventory, and we generate all this stuff, we're going to set the character, and then we're going to say, by the way, this is going to be equal to can modify inventory. Yeah, I like the Python way of doing it, saying is and is not, but definitely more than one occasion, I've actually skipped over an if statement and said, yes, it looks fine, when it should have, when it had a not, and it shouldn't have, or vice versa. When it didn't have one, I looked at it and kind of said, yeah, I think I see one, right? And my brain just kind of keeps moving without checking it or thinking about it much. So right now, can modify. Okay, we need to set the default on all of these. So you guys, by the way, let's see, skills, go away. Yes, you can modify your inventory right now. So now, I can drag this around and that's fine. I get into combat and I can open it, but I can't drag it. I can still click on it, but I can't drag it, and that's the big thing. Also, I can't help but notice he has a health potion for a head. What? What's his character 1? What's your head slot? It is a health potion. I literally have a health potion in his head slot. When did that even get there? Oh crap. I've got a bug inside the inventory item system and I didn't even think about it. Lovely. Can I fix that real quick? Maybe, probably, but I don't want to spend time on it right now. I'm kind of in the middle of other things, but I should make sure that this gets fixed. Otherwise, if I forget it, then I'll find Mr. Health Potions for Head is just not going to work out. Where the heck is that? Okay, I've got the character window. I generate the item UI object. And then when I hand it, I know what's going wrong. Inventory item UI. When I drop and move it, it's setting it to slot 0, and that's not the slot it should actually be putting things into. On and drag. Really? It's not doing anything? That seems bizarre. Must be the item slot then that's doing the modification. Okay, if da-da-da-da-da-da, don't care. Okay, set this. This is what's going crazy here. Its get slot index is wrong. So specifically when we set the interesting. I'm impressed this does not break. So we grab the new item and we say, by the way, this item belongs in this slot. If it's in the backpack, that should do the trick. That should keep it from falling into his head. Well, you know what? Warriors, health potions should not be warriors, by the way. Okay, his head and neck look fine. It looks like we fixed that issue. That's a silly hack, but it'll have to do for now, because we're in the middle of other things. We're busy. We're not fighting, we're just having a discussion about our architecture. About the relationship, no, the architecture of this relationship. There we go. That's the words I was looking for. Okay. Combat window, we should now be able to open the inventory in combat. Sweet. Now you'll notice I can't move things, which is good. I do still want to be able to select things. So, we need to add a little functionality to this. And what I'm tempted to do is I'm actually tempted to have it be the following way. So we've got view only, we've got a let's see, editable, and oh, what is it? What's the third one? View only, editable, and picker. So now that we've got the features that we want, what we can do is we can say, okay, first off, we don't need that. Public feature mode. And from here we can actually control exactly what features we want turned on and turned off. So let's see here. Let's get this correct. I did make that public, didn't I? Yeah, public feature mode. Okay, can move. Oh, this is inside a single item, though. Got it. Can move. That's feature mode. Can the items move, or is it editable? Is pretty much what that comes down to. And I could swear I made a variable named feature mode. Oh, it's just called mode. That's actually fine. So I'm gonna set the mode here to the, let's see, If I can currently modify my inventory, then we're going to use editable. Otherwise, we're going to use view only. Now to implement that last one. The last one's going to be a little more tricky. Not the end of the world, but it just means we have to think about this a little before we start implementing anything and everything going on in here. How do we do this? Okay, so I don't need player character open anymore. So if the view mode is picker, this is going to get weird. We have to modify the system that handles the inventory items for this to work. At least for it to work in our favor. Inventory item UI, let's see here. Trying to think of like a better way to handle it than having everything have a mode and it all needs to be handled a certain way, and it seems kind of silly to do it like that. The inventory item UI, instead of having the owning character, let's see here. I need to think about this to make sure I'm not doing something incredibly stupid. Yeah, instead of having the owning character, we could just pass it the character window, and the character window has the owning character, so we wouldn't need another reference to it. That does change how we have to modify some stuff. Specifically, we'd have to say window.character when we pass things around inside. And also, like, there's a way to do all this. The question is, does it get us any cleaner of an implementation or not? I do like using this pointers a lot more than I like most anything else in the system. So that I definitely enjoy. Because now what we can do is we can say, well, the inventory item UI can do a few things. First off, we don't need this can move. So actually, what I'm going to do, just for my sanity's sake, is we're going to make a little helper for us, but we're going to make it in the form of a property and not a field. So the difference, by the way, being that properties exist for getters and setters versus fields are literal things that take up space inside and are variables of some type. So can move, what we should do is we say window.mode is equal to feature mode dot editable. And now, anytime we want to check, can this thing actually move? We can just use the property, and the property will call the function each time. It's not going to do any crazy caching, it's not going to do weird stuff. It should just work as intended. But now we don't have to set that separately either. And note how as we pare the amount of information down, yeah, we have to look different places for that same information, but we don't have copies of it. Things can't change underneath us and then suddenly have everything go sideways when we say, well, I changed this variable, why doesn't it work? It's because things aren't checking that variable. It's because we had copied data before. We're removing that copied data, and that's doing two good things for us. That's making our code easier to modify, and it's also dropping our memory footprint on the machine. So, let's see here. We need to know if we're in picker mode. That's the only other thing we need to handle here. Sentinel Infinitus, this is C#, as Nostrum just pointed out, so, Alright, let's see. We've got a lot of information. We've got a lot of stuff floating around. I'm going to take this merge, throw that out. Inspect can also bugger off. So we're just going to keep use, equip, and discard inside the context menu. Which does mean I have to go through and modify how this works. Again. But I do that a lot, so it's okay. Here's our inventory page. I'm just going to use a random backpack slot. And we're going to dump a item UI into that backpack slot. And turn the context menu on just for a moment so I can make some quick modifications to it. We don't want an inspect or a merge button. Just use and discard, really. We definitely don't want discard sitting as low as it currently is, so that can go there. A little messy, but it's fine. There we go. Also, now that I'm sitting here staring at it, yeah, I thought so. You were using the wrong text. Also, your text is friggin' tiny, so stop that as well. I'm not a fan of text that is just missized or misplaced. Yeah, let's keep it full white though, just in case. Okay. Hide the context menu again. I'm actually going to put the stack count above it. Oh, wait, no, I can't do that, because then if I do this... Oh, no, that's fine. That's good. Okay, reapply that. Delete that. Delete that. Okay, so I can use it from here. I can click use, I can click discard. If I want to throw them away, I can. Also, if I get into a fight that works, I need to put that picker functionality in. That's what we need. We need to be able to actually pick things so that it stops complaining. And we can actually get rid of this combat item prefab as well. Just kind of clean up everything as we go. Throw things out. So, if on pointer enter, don't care. On begin drag, don't care. On pointer click, this is the one I do care about. So if window.mode is, if it's in a picker mode, what we need to do is there's going to be a function registered with the window. And we need to just handle that and everything else will take care of itself. Also, we should probably put in another failsafe here and say if the window mode, if it's not equal to editable, we shouldn't be showing that context menu anyway. So this will keep us from popping up that context menu even when we can't edit our UI. That would be nice. Alright, let's see. Back here for a moment. Get this all back into view for a sec, just so I can remember what the context of all this is. Executron, currently we are cleaning the heck out of the inventory system. I've been at this for almost 40 minutes, 45 minutes now. We've managed to rip out practically most of the combat inventory system and replace it with existing code so that we don't have duplicates of things floating around, which I absolutely adore this idea. Part of why I'm working on it today. Okay, mode. Something else to keep in mind. If the mode is picker, then we're going to have a picker function that is registered with us. So I need to figure out what that's going to look like. Result. I don't actually need a result, so I'm going to use action instead. And we've got an inventory item UI. And that's our picker function. So when the combat window says, hey, I chose the item action and we open the inventory, we also should do one other thing. And that is you know what, the character window has a singleton. Let's just use it for now. I don't like using singletons, but did I not make the singleton something that anyone could access? That kind of removes the point of having a singleton. Cool. Well, it removes some point of having a singleton. It's kind of got a quiet singleton. It's not one you can specifically, like, go hunting for. Let's see here. By the way, character window is this. And when we say character window, we're going to change the window. Oh, but the window mode needs to be modified. Oh, only before start. Crap. Trying to think about how I need this to happen in what order. Because we have defaults getting set, and defaults are great, but we want to make sure that certain things are getting set on their own as well. I guess I could just try it from here. So we're going to set it to picker, and then we're also going to say, by the way, the picker function is going to be, I don't actually have one, do I? I kind of thought I had one, honestly. There's our process combat, there's advance the character choice. Yeah, no, that's funny. I thought I had a choose item like post action almost. Okay, well, whatever. I can make a new one. Cool. So we've got a mode, we've got a picker function all set out. I want to make sure that that actually does the trick. Actually, nothing's going to happen though, because nothing's tied in together. Not yet, at least. If the mode is picker, and the picker function is set, that should do the trick. For us, that means we need to, so we've picked an item. For now, I'm just going to cheat, and I'm going to say we need to advance the character choice, and we also need what? Probably, we need to find the action background and turn it back on. Oh, and then we also need to close the character window that was open. So how do I do that? Is there a close inventory button? Not from here. That much is obvious. The character window, honestly, knowing something has been picked, we should just be able to close the window from there. So we get in a fight. I say item. I want to drink this health potion. And life goes on. Sweet. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Okay. Trying to think if there's any other weirdness that's going on anywhere else, but I don't think so, and that's great. That really is just friggin' awesome. I love removing code because it essentially tends to mean that there's less places for things to go wrong. And it's not often that I get to remove code and have more functionality than before. Oh. Return type is incompatible. I did seem to break something else while I was in here. Probably this portrait event. Interesting. So I can have the open inventory call. Oh, I can't anymore. Okay, so I need 2 open inventory calls, pretty much. I need the one that's called from the portrait. So, let's see here. Open in... Where is that? Okay. So I need the one that's called from the portrait, and I need the one that's called... Let's see here. So here's the open inventory portrait. So this is going to be the one that's actually called by the Unity UI system. And this just calls open inventory, and then just doesn't do anything with it. And then the other thing I think I kind of want to do here, I'm kind of tempted to put feature mode here, but I don't know if I actually want that to be there or not. Just going to quickly look at all the places that call open inventory. I think I'm going to make one more quick override here. And I'm just going to use system.action. And what I'm going to do is we say character window equals open inventory, and then we set the modes separately. And then we return it anyway. I think that's the easiest way to do this. So I would do item picked function here. I actually don't even need the return at that point. I'm tempted to leave it in just in case I do need it again. I actually don't think I will though. So let's... So this is turned into a helper function. I don't mind having helper functions, but they gotta go in the right place. Receive item, take item. I'm just trying to figure out if this is like the best, cleanest way I can do this, or if I'm doing something silly here. So in the case of opening it with the portrait, I actually want this mess to live inside here. In this case, though, I actually want to go straight for picker mode. And for now, I'm not actually going to return anything, because it just seems weird to be returning something and then not using it 90, actually not 90, it's 100% of the time right now. Okay, I can't multi-edit these things. That is really unfortunate. Okay, here's open inventory portrait. Essentially just came down to we had to write ourselves a little helper function, or modify an existing function to turn it into a helper function, I should say. And then we just had to fix it from there, so that people could call different variations on it. Okay, so I can click this. This leaves it modifiable. I can take things and put them in and out of his inventory. I can even pass items to other characters so that I could put things in all kinds of different places. At which point, now I get into a fight. Ooh, that's not good. Oh, once again, this is the, oh gosh, bothers me to no end. If item is null or item dot is empty, continue. Once again, that is null. We really want to remove that, because that's bothering us. But now I can also hit item and pick it from there, and this gives us a couple distinct upgrades. Interesting. So I'm trying to click and drag, and I really can't. And I shouldn't be able to. So why is it complaining on end drag if I just skip that event? I'm missing something. I'm missing something obvious. Index out of range. That's what it's complaining about. So if I modify things right now, it's fine. If I get into a fight, hit item and try and modify it. If I try and click and drag, I can't. And I bet it's because the inventory slot's trying to do something on drop, and it can't. Interesting. Okay, so the inventory slots need to understand what they're attached to, so that they can properly ignore information. Let's see here. We're almost done, guys. I'm also almost out of time. Thank you very much for those who joined me today. If you haven't done it yet, hit the follow button if you like what you see. I've been working on this for nearly 2 months now, and you can see I've made a decent amount of progress. Today is kind of a cleanup day where we just relaxed and cleaned stuff up. I might continue doing that tomorrow. I might not. I still have a lot of other things on my list to get done. I actually glance over and see that, like, inventory weight is a thing. Running from combat is something that isn't done yet. The entire party action UI, you'll notice there's no UI here 90% of the time. We need to fix that. We also have to do more cleanup on the inventory system, because containers are kind of another place where we should have more unified UI, but we just don't right now, and that's kind of meh. So yeah, we've got a lot of stuff left. There's never going to be a shortage of work here. The question simply becomes where and when do we get some of that done? Where is that? Character window. All of these slots. What we're going to do, public character window. I'm just going to go through every slot that sits here. So head slot, Let's say outline. Oh, okay, that's the person outline. So all of these, which now are going to be asking for a character window, there's your character window. And on drop, what we're going to say is if window.mode is I guess I should say if it's not editable, return. Because if it's not editable, we shouldn't be able to make modifications to it. Also, that was a bad idea. Okay, let's undo that. We hit apply. We delete this. Okay, so I can still drag and drop. Let's get into a fight. I hit item. I try and drag and drop, and I don't see issues anymore. Good. Good, good, good. Alright, so we've got more cleanup to do, but for now, this is what I'm probably only going to be able to finish because I got 3 minutes left before I got to go pick up people and go to work. Thank you guys again for joining me. You guys have been fantastic today. We did get a lot of stuff done. I know it doesn't really seem like it, but it definitely was a nice burden to have multiple files deleted, getting some of those weird short little classes removed, and actually adding functionality to the game in terms of being able to control this interface a little more tightly. Because without that control, we're going to start running into weird little edge cases. We've still got some cases of like, I can look at my spells, I can look at my character. I can also close this. What now? So there's definitely work to get done still, but there's nothing we can quite dive into at this very moment. So thanks again, guys. It's been great. I do have to take off. Hopefully I will see you guys tomorrow. I do this every morning. Monday through Friday, Tuesday through Friday, I do tend to be online from 8 to 9 a.m. Monday is a little all over the place. It looks like Mondays are going to be 7 to 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So hopefully you guys can make it then. Otherwise, thanks again. I hope you guys have a great day. That's about it. Take care. Later.